Have you ever reacted impulsively, only to regret it seconds later? Have you ever struggled to connect with others, even when you had so much to say? If so, you're not alone. We live in a world where emotions shape everything: success, relationships, even our inner peace. Yet, most people never learn to control their emotions or master social interactions. They let their anger destroy relationships. They let insecurity make them miss out on opportunities. And worst of all, they let other people's opinions dictate their lives. But here's the truth. The one who masters emotions masters life. Emotionally intelligent people don't get consumed by rage. They don't let self-doubt hold them back. And they never let external forces control their inner world. Instead, they navigate life with clarity, confidence, and composure. The best part? Emotional intelligence is a skill. It can be learned. And today, you're going to discover how. In this video, we'll break down the Stoic blueprint for mastering emotions and human interactions. You'll learn practical, proven strategies to develop self-awareness, self-regulation, and deep social connections, just like the great Stoics did. If this message resonates, share it with someone who needs it. And let me know, what's the biggest emotional challenge you've faced? Drop it in the comments below. Let's begin. 1. Self-awareness. Think about the last time you lost control. Maybe it was a heated argument. Maybe it was a moment of frustration that led to a decision you instantly regretted. At that moment, did you stop to ask yourself, why am I feeling this way? Or did you just react? Most people live their lives like this, reacting, not responding. Controlled by emotions they don't even understand. They snap at loved ones. They make impulsive choices. They let fear, anger, and insecurity dictate their actions. And worst of all, they don't even realize it's happening. This is the prison of the unconscious mind, a life where emotions rule and reason is a prisoner. But there's a way out, a way to break free, and it starts with self-awareness. Picture yourself in a storm. The winds are howling, the rain is pounding, and you're gripping onto whatever you can to stay grounded. This is what emotions feel like when you lack self-awareness, a storm you cannot control. But what if you could step back? What if, instead of being caught in the chaos, you became the observer? Watching the storm from a distance, understanding its patterns, its triggers, and its power? This is what self-awareness gives you. The ability to step back from your emotions instead of drowning in them. The Stoics understood this. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Self-awareness is the first step to emotional mastery. Without it, you're just a puppet, controlled by strings you cannot see. With it, you become the one holding the strings. Without self-awareness, your emotions own you. You lash out in anger without realizing it's your own insecurity speaking. You feel jealous, but don't understand it's rooted in your own fears of inadequacy. You avoid opportunities because you think you're not good enough, without ever questioning why you believe that. And here's the brutal truth. If you don't understand your emotions, someone else will. Manipulative people, toxic relationships, and even media and advertising, they all thrive on those who lack self-awareness. They know how to push your buttons, how to trigger you, how to make you act without thinking. This is why self-awareness isn't just important, it's survival. The Stoics practiced self-examination daily. They understood that self-awareness isn't something you have, it's something you cultivate. Here's how you start. Keep an emotional journal. Every night, ask yourself, what did I feel today? What triggered those feelings? How did I react? Write down the moments where you felt out of control. Over time, you'll see patterns, triggers, weak spots, and when you see them, you can change them. Pause before reacting. When emotions rise, pause. Don't react. Observe. Ask yourself, why am I feeling this way? Is this emotion about the present, or is it rooted in something deeper? The difference between reacting and responding is a few seconds of awareness. Get feedback from others. Sometimes we're blind to our own behaviors. Ask someone you trust. How do I handle stress? How do I react under pressure? The way we see ourselves and the way others see us can be very different. Bridging that gap is key to growth. Practice mindfulness and reflection. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "At the end of each day, ask yourself, what did I do well? What could I have done better?" Spend 5 minutes in silence every morning, just observing your thoughts. The more you listen to your mind, the more control you'll have over it. Imagine a life where emotions don't control you, where you don't let anger destroy relationships, where you don't let insecurity stop you from taking action, where you don't let fear keep you from becoming the person you were meant to be. That's what self-awareness gives you. It's not just about knowing yourself, it's about owning yourself. Because if you don't take control of your mind, someone else will. The next step, self-regulation. Because understanding your emotions is just the beginning. Learning to control them, that's where true power begins. Are you ready? Let's continue. 2. Self-regulation. Imagine you're in a meeting. Your boss criticizes your work in front of everyone. Your face burns, your pulse quickens, and your mind screams, "That's unfair." You want to snap back to defend yourself. But instead you pause. You take a breath. You let the initial rush of emotion pass. And then, calmly, clearly, you respond with composure. That's self-regulation. It's what separates those who crumble under pressure from those who thrive. It's what allows you to stay in control when life tests you. And life will test you. Every day you'll face people who provoke you, situations that frustrate you, and emotions that threaten to overwhelm you. Without self-regulation, you're at their mercy, reacting impulsively, regretting later. But here's the truth. You don't have to be a slave to your emotions. The Stoics understood this better than anyone. They knew emotions were like wild horses. If left unchecked, they'll throw you off course. But if you train them, if you learn to master them, they'll carry you exactly where you need to go. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Strength isn't about never feeling anger, fear, or frustration. It's about choosing how you respond. Think of a time you let emotions take control. Maybe you snapped at someone and later regretted it. Maybe you made a rash decision in the heat of the moment. Maybe you allowed fear to stop you from speaking up when it mattered. Without self-regulation, emotions dictate your actions. And emotions, when left unchecked, can sabotage everything. Your relationships, your career, your peace of mind. A single moment of uncontrolled anger can destroy a relationship. A single burst of insecurity can make you miss out on an opportunity. A single act of impulsiveness can undo years of progress. This is why mastering self-regulation is non-negotiable. It's not about suppressing emotions, it's about mastering them. Feeling them, acknowledging them, and then deciding how to respond. Because once you control your emotions, you control your life. So how do you develop self-regulation? The Stoics had clear answers. They practiced deliberate control over their reactions. They trained their minds the same way warriors trained their bodies. And you can too. First, pause before you react. When you feel anger, frustration, or anxiety rising, stop. Take a deep breath. Count to 10. Do anything that creates space between the stimulus and your response. This simple act can mean the difference between reacting impulsively and responding intelligently. Second, reframe the situation. The Stoics believe that it's not events that disturb us, but our interpretation of them. If someone cuts you off in traffic, you can choose to get angry. Or you can assume they're rushing to an emergency. If your coworker interrupts you, you can see it as disrespect or as enthusiasm. The story you tell yourself shapes your emotional response. Third, expose yourself to discomfort. Self-regulation is like a muscle. The more you train it, the stronger it gets. The Stoics deliberately put themselves in uncomfortable situations to develop resilience. They took cold baths. They practiced fasting. They welcomed challenges instead of avoiding them. Try this. The next time someone tests your patience, treat it like a training session for self-mastery. Instead of reacting emotionally, observe yourself. Recognize the initial emotion, but don't let it dictate your response. Fourth, use visualization. Before a stressful situation, imagine yourself handling it with absolute composure. Picture yourself staying calm, responding wisely, and maintaining control. The mind doesn't distinguish between real and imagined experiences, so the more you visualize emotional control, the more natural it becomes. Imagine a life where no one can provoke you, where insults don't shake you, where challenges don't paralyze you, where you are always in control. This is the power of self-regulation. Most people let emotions drive their actions, but the strongest people, the ones who lead, inspire, and succeed, are the ones who control how they respond. You don't have to be controlled by anger. You don't have to be a victim of insecurity. You don't have to let frustration dictate your choices. The next time emotions rise, remember this. You are not your emotions. You are the one who decides what to do with them. And that decision, it changes everything. Now that you understand how to regulate emotions, let's move to the next level, finding inner motivation. Because discipline isn't just about controlling reactions, it's about driving yourself forward, even when you don't feel like it. Let's continue. 3. Finding inner motivation. Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. Marcus Aurelius. How many times have you told yourself you'd start tomorrow? The workout plan, the side business, the new habit? You say you'll do it, but the motivation never seems to last. One day you feel inspired. The next, you don't. And so you wait. You wait for motivation to strike again, as if it's some magical force outside of your control. But here's the brutal truth. Waiting for motivation is the fastest way to failure. The Stoics didn't rely on fleeting feelings. They didn't wait to feel like it. They knew that motivation isn't something that comes to you, it's something you create. The man who only acts when he feels like it will always be a slave to his emotions. But the man who acts despite his emotions, he is the one who controls his destiny. You see, real motivation isn't about hype, external rewards, or bursts of inspiration. It's about discipline. The kind of discipline that keeps you moving forward when no one is watching. The kind that makes you wake up early to work on your craft when the rest of the world is asleep. The kind that says, I do this not because I feel like it, but because I committed to it. There's a reason why the man who works out every morning without fail is different from the one who only goes when he feels motivated. The first man understands something, the second never will. That discipline is stronger than emotion. Motivation is temporary. Discipline is forever. Think about the times you relied on external validation to keep going. Maybe you worked hard, but only because someone praised you. Maybe you pursued a goal, but only because people were watching. The moment the praise stopped, so did your effort. That is weak motivation. That is a life controlled by external forces. The Stoics warn us about this trap. If your motivation depends on what others think, then your entire sense of purpose can be stolen with a single insult, a single rejection, or a single failure. But when your motivation comes from within, when it is built on unshakable principles, you become untouchable. So how do you cultivate this kind of inner drive? How do you break free from the cycle of waiting for motivation and instead become the kind of person who moves forward no matter what? First, detach from external validation. If you only work hard when others notice, you are not truly working for yourself. You are working for approval, and that makes you weak. The next time you accomplish something, resist the urge to share it. Resist the need for applause. Do it because you said you would. Second, make discipline your identity. Stop saying, I want to be someone who works hard. Start saying, I'm someone who works hard. Every action you take reinforces an identity. If you want to be disciplined, act disciplined, even when no one is watching, especially when no one is watching. Third, embrace discomfort. The Stoics deliberately sought hardship to build resilience. They fasted when they didn't have to. They exposed themselves to the cold. They did difficult things, not because they enjoyed suffering, but because they knew that comfort breeds weakness. If you only work when conditions are perfect, you will never work at all. So, seek out discomfort. Train your mind to function in chaos. Fourth, act first, feel later. The biggest lie about motivation is that you need to feel ready before you act. The truth, action creates motivation, not the other way around. If you don't feel like working out, start by putting on your shoes. If you don't feel like writing, start by typing a single sentence. If you don't feel like showing up, show up anyway. And watch what happens. Imagine being the kind of person who doesn't need external praise to stay committed. The kind of person who doesn't stop when things get hard. The kind of person who does the work whether they feel like it or not. That is the real motivation. That is inner power. Most people wait to feel inspired. They wait for perfect conditions. They wait for someone to push them. And that's why most people never reach their full potential. But you are not like most people. You are here to master yourself, and that mastery starts with taking control of your own drive. The next step, empathy, because discipline alone isn't enough. True power comes from mastering both yourself and your ability to connect with others. Let's continue. 4. Empathy. Have you ever felt completely misunderstood? Like someone judged you without knowing your story? Like they saw your actions but never cared enough to understand your reasons? It's frustrating. It's isolating. And yet most people do this to others every single day. They assume, they react, they criticize, but they never stop to ask, why did this person act this way? What are they going through? What pain, what pressure, what unseen struggle shaped this moment? This is why empathy is not weakness, it is power. The ability to step outside of your own perspective to truly understand another person is what separates those who build deep, lasting connections from those who go through life never truly seen, never truly understood. The Stoics understood this well. Epictetus said, "First, learn the meaning of what you say and then speak." They knew that without understanding, words can be weapons. That quick judgment destroys trust. A person who lacks empathy will always struggle in relationships, at work, at home, and in life. Imagine 2 leaders. The first, quick to anger, rules by fear. He punishes mistakes without asking why they happened. He assumes incompetence instead of seeking understanding. His employees obey, but they do not respect him. They do not trust him, and the moment they get a chance to leave, they will. Now the second leader, he doesn't ignore mistakes, but he seeks to understand them. He knows that people are not machines. Emotions, fears, and struggles shape their actions. Instead of blaming, he listens. Instead of punishing, he helps people improve. His employees don't just work for him. They believe in him, they trust him, and when people trust you, they will follow you anywhere. That is the difference empathy makes. Yet many see empathy as a soft skill, something optional, something for the weak. But that's a lie. The ability to read people, to understand their motivations, to predict their actions before they even speak. That is an unstoppable advantage. A man who lacks empathy cannot lead, he cannot negotiate, he cannot influence, he cannot build relationships that last. Because without empathy, every interaction is transactional. People feel it. They sense when they are being used instead of valued. And they will walk away. So how do you develop this skill? How do you sharpen your ability to see beyond words, beyond actions, and into the truth of what drives people? First, listen twice, speak once. The Stoics taught that we have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. Most people don't listen. They just wait for their turn to speak. They think about their response instead of truly hearing the other person. But the fastest way to understand someone is simple. Shut up and listen. Not just to words, but to tone, to body language, to what's left unsaid. Second, reframe judgment as curiosity. Instead of assuming, this person is lazy, this person is rude, this person is weak, ask yourself, what might be causing this behavior? Instead of reacting with criticism, react with curiosity. The moment you do, you shift from attacking to understanding. And understanding is where influence begins. Third, put yourself in uncomfortable conversations. If you only talk to people who think like you and who see the world like you will never develop true empathy. Challenge yourself. Speak to those who disagree with you. Listen to perspectives that make you uncomfortable. The more you step outside your own mind, the more you expand your ability to understand others. Fourth, control your own emotions first. If you are ruled by anger, frustration, or insecurity, you cannot be empathetic. You will react instead of understanding. You will assume instead of asking. True empathy requires emotional control. You must master yourself before you can understand someone else. Imagine walking into a room and instantly knowing who is tense, who is hiding pain, who needs reassurance, who is lying. Imagine having the ability to navigate any conversation, any conflict, any negotiation with precision, because you understand what's really going on beneath the surface. That is empathy. That is power. Most people will go through life blind, never looking beyond their own emotions, their own perspective. But you are not like most people. You are here to see, to understand, to master the art of human connection. 5. Social skills. Mastering human interactions. A man walks into a room, and within seconds, he understands everything. He notices the tension between 2 colleagues. He senses the insecurity in the quiet newcomer. He picks up on the exhaustion hidden behind a forced smile. Without saying a word, he knows how to approach each person, how to build trust, how to connect. This is not a trick. This is not manipulation. This is social mastery. Most people stumble through conversations blind. They talk without listening. They assume without observing. They miss the subtle shifts in tone, the micro-expressions, the unspoken emotions that reveal what's really happening beneath the surface. And then they wonder why their relationships feel shallow. Why do their conversations never lead anywhere? Why do they struggle to connect, to persuade, to inspire? But the greatest leaders, the most successful negotiators, the most respected individuals, they all have one thing in common. They understand people. They know that words are just the surface, that true communication happens in the pauses, in the unsaid, in the emotions behind the expressions. The Stoics knew this well. Epictetus warned, "Nature gave us one tongue and two ears so we could hear twice as much as we speak." Most people do the opposite. They rush to talk, to prove their point, to be heard. But true mastery of social skills begins with something far more powerful: awareness. Imagine you see a coworker struggling. Instead of the generic, "Are you okay?" you say, "I've noticed you seem tense lately. If there's anything I can do, let me know." That difference is everything. It shows awareness. It shows care. It builds trust. Social skills are not about being charismatic. They are not about being extroverted. They are about understanding human nature. If you can do that, you will have an advantage in every conversation, every relationship, every interaction for the rest of your life. So how do you master this skill? First, learn to read people. Words lie, but the body does not. Pay attention to body language, facial expressions, and tone of voice. When someone says "I'm fine," but their shoulders are tense and their voice is tight, they are not fine. When someone smiles but their eyes look distant, something is wrong. People reveal themselves in ways they don't realize, if you are paying attention. Second, master the power of silence. The greatest communicators are not the ones who talk the most, but the ones who listen the best. Most people fear silence. They rush to fill every gap. But silence is a tool. When you pause before responding, it shows confidence. It makes people lean in. It gives space for the truth to emerge. The next time you're in a conversation, try this. Pause for 3 seconds before responding. Watch how it changes the dynamic. Third, mirror, but don't imitate. People trust those who feel familiar. The way to create this subconscious bond is simple. Mirror their energy, their posture, their tone. If someone speaks softly, lower your voice slightly. If someone is animated, allow yourself to be expressive. The key is subtlety. Done right, it creates instant rapport without them even realizing why. Fourth, ask questions that make people open up. Most conversations stay at the surface level. Small talk, polite exchanges, empty words. But if you want to connect, you must go deeper. Instead of "How was your day?" ask, "What was the best part of your day?" Instead of "What do you do?" ask, "What do you love most about your work?" The right question can unlock a person's world. Fifth, control your reactions. In social situations, emotions are contagious. If you remain calm, others will mirror that. If you stay composed in conflict, you gain control of the interaction. When someone insults you, the most powerful response is no response. The moment you react, you give them power. Stay still. Observe. Let them expose themselves. This is social dominance without force. Now imagine yourself with this skill set, walking into any room with confidence, understanding people before they even speak, navigating difficult conversations with ease, resolving conflicts, earning trust, commanding respect, not through aggression, not through dominance, but through understanding. This is not about tricks. This is not about tactics. This is about mastering the art of human connection. And those who master this, they don't just succeed in conversations. They succeed in life. 6. Building confidence in social interactions. There's a moment before you speak, a fraction of a second when doubt creeps in. What if they don't respect what I say? What if I embarrass myself? You feel your pulse quicken, your voice tightens, and your presence shrinks. You hesitate. And in that hesitation, you lose control of the moment. Confidence isn't about being loud. It isn't about dominating a conversation. True confidence is knowing who you are and letting that be enough. Most people misunderstand confidence. They think it's about impressing others. They try to be the funniest, the most interesting, the most dominant. But the people who carry real presence, they don't need to try. They don't seek attention. They own their space, whether people notice or not. A man walks into a room and instantly commands respect. Not because he demands it, but because he carries himself in a way that tells the world, "I know my worth." He listens more than he speaks. He moves with certainty. He does not shrink, nor does he seek approval. This is confidence, and it's something you can build. Because most people struggle with confidence, not because they aren't good enough, but because they are controlled by fear. Fear of rejection, fear of judgment, fear of not being enough, and that fear manifests in their body language, their voice, and their actions. They second-guess their words. They over-explain themselves. They apologize for taking up space. Confidence begins the moment you decide you are enough as you are. Not when you get a promotion, not when you improve your looks, not when people approve of you. Now, the Stoics understood this well. Epictetus said, "If you wish to improve, be content to appear clueless or stupid in extraneous matters." In other words, stop performing for others. Stop seeking their validation. Focus on becoming unshakable in who you are. Your body speaks before your words do. A person lacking confidence makes themselves small. They cross their arms, avoid eye contact, and shift uncomfortably. The confident, they take up space. They stand tall. They breathe deeply. They look people in the eye, not aggressively, not forcefully, but with calm certainty. Insecurity fills silences. It over-explains. It rushes to be heard. Confidence, on the other hand, is deliberate. The person who speaks slowly, who doesn't rush to fill gaps, who lets words land, that person owns the conversation. If your confidence is built on how others react to you, then you are not truly confident. You are dependent. If someone ignores you, dismisses you, or disrespects you, it should not change your self-worth. True confidence does not rise or fall based on external validation. The most charismatic people are not the ones who talk the most. They are the ones who make others feel seen. Confidence isn't about proving yourself. It's about being so secure in who you are that you don't need to. Confidence is trained, not gifted. The Stoics practiced voluntary hardship, putting themselves in uncomfortable situations to build resilience. Do you want to be confident in social interactions? Put yourself in them. Talk to strangers. Speak up in meetings. Step into situations that force you to adapt. Repetition kills fear. When you build this kind of confidence, you walk into any room and own your presence. You don't need to be the loudest voice. People will feel your energy. You don't seek approval. People will respect you for it. You don't overthink what to say, because you know your words have value. Most people live their lives doubting themselves, letting their fears dictate their presence. But you don't have to. You can decide right now that you will no longer shrink, no longer wait for permission, no longer let fear decide how you move through the world. 7. Emotional intelligence in the workplace. The workplace is not just a place of logic, strategies, and deadlines. It is a battlefield of emotions. Tensions rise in meetings, egos clash in decision-making, and frustrations build under pressure. A single moment of unchecked anger can ruin a reputation. A single impulsive reaction can shatter a relationship. A single poorly handled conflict can stall an entire career. Those who lack emotional intelligence become victims of this chaos, constantly at war with themselves and others, dragged in every direction by stress, frustration, and insecurity. But those who master their emotions? They do not get pulled into the noise. They stay composed when others panic. They navigate workplace politics with precision. They maintain focus when the pressure is overwhelming. These are the people who not only survive in competitive environments, but rise above them. Most people believe success at work is about intelligence, skills, and experience. And while those things matter, they are not what determine who thrives and who struggles. It is not the most intelligent who leads, it is the most emotionally aware. It is the one who can control their emotions while understanding the emotions of others. The one who can de-escalate conflict, inspire action, and remain unshaken when things get difficult. This is why emotional intelligence is the real competitive edge in any workplace. But here's the reality. Most people fail at this. They let their emotions dictate their professional decisions. They take criticism personally and allow it to destroy their confidence. They react impulsively in meetings, damaging their credibility. They let office politics consume them, allowing resentment and jealousy to cloud their judgment. They waste time complaining about toxic coworkers instead of learning how to handle them. In the end, they wonder why their careers feel stuck, why they keep getting passed over, and why they feel exhausted and drained. But the answer is simple. They never learn to master themselves. In the workplace, emotions are like wildfire. If left unchecked, they spread uncontrollably, burning relationships, opportunities, and reputations. But those who know how to contain the fire, they don't just survive, they use that energy as fuel. Instead of reacting to negativity, they remain calm and centered. Instead of allowing stress to weaken them, they use it as motivation. Instead of getting caught up in office drama, they rise above it. And that ability to remain unshaken when others crumble is what makes them stand out. A leader who cannot regulate emotions will lead through fear and insecurity. A manager who cannot control frustration will push people away. A professional who cannot handle feedback will never grow. But those who develop emotional mastery gain something far more valuable than just success. They gain respect. The kind of respect that doesn't need to be demanded, but is naturally given. Because people follow those who remain steady when everything else feels unstable. So how do you develop this kind of emotional intelligence in the workplace? First, learn to separate emotions from decisions. Feelings are real, but they are not always reliable. Just because you feel offended doesn't mean you need to react. Just because you feel frustrated doesn't mean you need to respond immediately. Every reaction is a choice, and the strongest professionals choose wisely. Second, control your presence. In a room full of chaos, the calmest person commands the most power. Breathe before you respond. Speak with clarity. Be deliberate with your actions. A person who appears in control is often perceived as the one who is. Third, detach from unnecessary battles. Not every conflict requires engagement. Not every insult deserves a response. Not every situation is worth your energy. Emotional intelligence is knowing when to engage and when to walk away. And most of the time, walking away is the real power move. A workplace filled with emotions is not the problem. The problem is when people allow those emotions to control them. The truth is that emotions will always exist. There will always be moments of frustration, moments of disagreement, and moments of doubt. But if you can master those emotions instead of letting them master you, you become untouchable. You move differently, you think differently, you lead differently. And the difference between those who get stuck and those who rise is not in their intelligence, not in their skills, not in their experience. It is in their ability to remain in control when others lose it. Mastering emotional intelligence and social skills is not about appearing strong. It's about becoming strong. It's about knowing who you are, controlling how you respond, and understanding the people around you. Because in the end, the one who controls emotions controls outcomes. Every interaction is a test. Every conversation is a chance to refine your awareness. Every conflict is an opportunity to rise above. If you've made it this far, you already understand something most people never will. That power is not in reacting, but in responding. True confidence is not in proving yourself, but in knowing yourself. That lasting success is not found in forcing control, but in mastering self-control. The Stoics trained for life the way warriors trained for battle. They didn't wait for challenges to test them. They tested themselves every day. You can do the same. Practice self-awareness. Pause before reacting. Choose discipline over impulse. Make emotional intelligence a daily practice, not just an idea. Most people will go through life unaware, ruled by emotions they don't understand. But you don't have to. You can train your mind the way others train their bodies. You can become unshakable. So now I ask you, what moment in your life has tested your emotional intelligence the most? Share your story in the comments, because every challenge holds a lesson, and every lesson makes us stronger.